Hi everybody, Francie from Plant-Based Radiance. Today I'm going to tell you about my find in the best nut milk. And I've done a lot of research and I've tried many experiments in finding something that is creamy, that tastes good in my coffee, on cereals. I would use a more plain milk if I was going to use it for a creamy sauce. But I am talking about the milk for coffee or the milk for topping your granola and your cereal. So here it goes. First of all, we're going to start with the nuts. Now you can make a nut milk, obviously, from many different combinations of nuts. And you can do it individually or you can combine. Today in my mise en place, I'm using cashew and almond that I am going to blend in the milk. So I began with high quality raw nuts. This is really important. If you get roasted, salted, or sweetened nuts at a store, what you're going to get is roasted, salted, and sweet nut milk that is not going to taste good. So start with a high quality nut that is raw, and that will segue over the second most important thing in starting your milks. You have to soak them. Now the soaking process, I like to do it for 12 hours. That would be overnight. I took cashews, raw cashews, and just to give it a nice taste, I added a cinnamon stick. I put it in there, and then I covered the nuts with water, and then I put it aside for 12 hours. Here it is drained, and the nuts have infused with the cinnamon stick, first of all. Notice that they're plump, so the water has seeped into them. And I want you to know that once you start blending, it'll be a much softer, creamier texture. I did the same with almonds. The almonds are much plumper. Actually, both of these are just 1 cup, but you can see the water has infiltrated the nut, and so they're plumper and softer to blend. Here I also took a cinnamon stick and did it for 12 hours. So the nuts are ready to go. The next thing in your mise en place, that means the gathering of your ingredients that you're going to need, is an important nut to water, and I have distilled water ratio. Okay, the ratio has to be correct. Remember this, memorize it. It's 4 parts water to 1 part nut. So we look here, and I had 2 cups of nuts. So you know that I wanted to have 8 parts water. I'm going to take this in just a moment and we're going to blend it. Here's another thing that's so important. High-speed blender, everybody. It's almost impossible to blend nuts without getting a lot of pulp if you don't use a quality blender. I have a Vitamix. I recommend that. It's wonderful in terms of making this nut milk. So with that in mind, you also need to sift the pulp after it's blended. This is where I recommend a nut bag. Now the nut bag has a very, very small weave which allows the milk to come out but holds the pulp. And these are so inexpensive. You can buy them online on Amazon. They're only about 99 cents per bag, and you can buy them in health food stores also. Anyway, next, at the end, we are going to add some sweetener. Dairy has natural sweetener. It has a little sugary taste and it also has a salty taste. But nuts, not so much. So we're going to add it ourselves. Now you can use a little agave, you could use honey, you could use maple syrup, and you could use obviously a Himalayan salt or any other healthy natural salt to put in there. And we're talking a very little bit, just to taste, and we're going to do it at the end. So let's segue into the process of how we're going to blend this. I take my canister here and I'm going to put my water in first. Next, the nuts. And we'll be ready to go. I just completed blending. I had the blender on high and I blended for 1 minute. Now I'm ready to take it with the nut bag and sift out those pieces of pulp that we don't want in our creamy, silky milk. So I am going to just pour it in to the bag. It's really very helpful to have an assistant, but okay, there we go. Now, when you're doing this, truthfully, it's like, I hate to say it, but it's like milking a cow. Not that I've done that very much in my life, but all right. So here's our creamy milk. It really does look creamy. I'm going to take, this time I used a little agave. Last time I used honey. But notice I'm only putting in like 1/8 of a teaspoon. You can always add more later. Here's a little salt. Again, it's like a pinch of salt because I don't want to kill the taste. I'm just going to stir it up. And voila. Now the next time we get together, I am going to experiment with other kinds of milks. There's everything that you could make. Hemp seed milk, rice milk, and all of them can be delicious as well as nutritious. Remember that when you're soaking those nuts, this is just another little aside, you're actually activating the enzymes in the nuts and it's going to be more nutritious. There's no comparison in taste and creaminess to what you would get in a store-bought carton. So give it a try. Have a great day and be blessed with your plant-based life. This is Francie from Plant-Based Radiance.